All right, so today we're just going to review integers from last year. So we put it as part of 1-1, but it's just to prep you for module 1. So we're going to add, subtract, multiply, and divide integers. So instead of having a vocabulary, we decided to put in the rules to remind you of them from last year. So when we add with the same sign, technically we add the absolute values of the integers and use common sign for the sum. So, right, that's the same thing as we said last year was add, it's a really bad D, and keep the sign. So that's how we put it last year. Now adding with different signs is where it gets a little tricky. We actually subtract the lesser or smaller absolute value from the greater. And we use, that's supposed to say use, the sign of the integer with the greater absolute value. Okay, so this was tricky because it's adding, but we're really subtracting. Okay, the additive inverse is where we add numbers and their opposites, and we always get a sum of 0. So that's where we can take 2 plus -2, and it will always equal 0. Inverse, remember, also means opposite. Subtracting integers, we add the opposite and follow the addition rules. So this is the one that tricked most people. All you do is add the opposite and then apply the addition rules above. So everybody's favorite is multiplying and dividing. So if we have two integers have the same sign, remember we just multiply and make them positive. And if they're different signs, then we multiply and make them negative. What's really nice is division is the same way. Divide, make it positive, or divide and make it negative. And then just remember order of operations is parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication and division in order from left to right, and then addition, subtraction in order from left to right. So these first couple of problems are just order of operation problems, but they have integers, no fractions, no decimals, just integers. We always move from left to right. So I would do -12 divided by 6 first. So I just divide. 12 divided by 6 is 2. But because they're opposite signs, I'm going to make it negative. And then I'm going to rewrite this, and it's +2. And I'm going to see what that equals. Well, those are opposites. Additive inverse is actually a -2 plus 2 will get me 0. Now, if we want to apply the add the, with different signs, remember it said to subtract. And so you can see it works that way too. All right. So maybe we already pause here and have you guys try letter B and then see how you did, and then pause and try letter C and then see how you did. So pause, try B, and then try C. All right, so for B, we should have just divided 87 by 3. So, 8 goes into, or 3 goes into 8 2 times, and then we get 2 left over. That's 27, and so that's 9 times. So we should have gotten 29. They're both negative, so remember from our last slide, it was a negative divided by a negative, same sign, we make it positive. Then we're going to subtract 9, and we just, so this is where add the opposite would come in. I'm just going to practice it so we remember what it looks like. Remember, add the opposite, 2 words, 2 things. But we also know that 29 take away 9 would just be 20. All right, so hopefully you paused, or if you need to, pause for C, but hopefully you paused for C. So we're going to go 40 divided by -5. Well, 40 divided by 5 is 8, but those are opposite signs, so we're going to make it negative, and then we're going to add 30. Now this is where our adding with different signs comes in. I need to take the absolute values of both of those and subtract. So I'm going to go 30 take away 8, and we're going to get 22. And then we keep the sign of the greater absolute value. Which one has more of a greater absolute value? And so since 30 is a greater absolute value, it is going to be 22, positive. All right, so we're going to practice some story problems with integers as well. Definitely need to do that. So how can you use an integer operations to solve real-world problems? Hannah made 4 withdrawals of $20 from her checking account. She also wrote a check for $215. By how much did the amount in her checking account change? So the first thing I would do is go find all the important things, right? She made withdrawals. Well, how many? She made 4, and they were each 20. And then she wrote a check for $215. So you need to remember, what does it mean to withdraw something? Well, if you think about it, if you withdraw out of your physical piggy bank or out of the cookie jar, what happens to the amount in that piggy bank or in that cookie jar? It actually goes down. So withdrawing means we're taking away. Okay, so that 20 is going to be negative because we're taking them away. So we can start there, that we know the 20 is going to be negative, right, because we're taking it away. But we did that 4 times. So it's 4 times -20. And then we wrote a check. Again, I'm also is kind of this plus word, right? I'm also doing this. So I'm adding to do what I'm doing. I'm also writing a check. Writing a check is removing money from my account. If I write a check and hand it to you, my account goes down. So this is also a negative. So that's what we would do to solve this problem. So let's multiply. Opposite signs. 4 times 2 is 8. Add our 0, and it's going to stay negative because they're opposite signs. Now we add -215. Well, those are the same sign, so I get to just add them together. So 5 and 0 make 5. 1 and 8 make 9. And then we've got the 2, and they're both negative, so it's -295. Says, how much did the amount in her checking account change? Changed by $295. Forgot my D, changed by. So I always say, if there's words in your problem, there should be words in your answer. Story problems will require units or at least a minimal, little sentence in a sense. I didn't really write a sentence, but words in my problem, words in my answer. All right, 3 brothers have their own savings. They borrow $72 from their parents for concert tickets. Each brother must pay back an equal share of this amount. Also, the youngest brother owes his parents $15. By how much will the youngest brother's savings change after he pays his parents? So why don't we pause? Let's see if you can write the expression that would help us find how much the younger brother owes. So we are concentrating on the whole thing, but we are really just concentrating on the younger brother. So the first thing I would do is go find all the important things. There's 3 brothers that borrow $72 total, and they're each paying an equal share. So when you are paying an equal amount, it means you're breaking up that amount into equal sections, right? You're breaking it up. When we break things up into pieces so that they are equal, it's like cutting a pie or a pizza. That's division. I'm dividing a whole into smaller pieces. So we should have taken 72 and divided it by 3. That'll tell us how much each brother is going to pay. So that'll also tell us how much the younger brother owes. But he also owes, and we owe it, so let's make this negative actually. They owe it. He also adding owes $15. All right, so check yours. Let's see how you did. But then let's also pause again and see if you can find out how much the brother is going to change his account by. So we should have first divided. So 3 goes into 7 2 times. I'm going to go like this, separate it 2 times. 1 left over, so 4, right, 12. And we need to leave it negative because it's a negative divided by a positive. And then he still owes that $15. So we need to find out what the total is. So same sign, we're just going to add them together. 4 plus 9, or 4 plus 5 is 9. And then 2 plus 1 is 3, and he owes it, so it's negative. So we want to know by how much will the youngest brother's savings change after he pays his parents. Changes by $39. Okay. So some things to remember, we actually wrote them down for you instead of doing them after the fact. So subtracting integers is the same as adding the opposite. So just as a reminder how to do that, keep the first integer the same. Change the subtraction sign to addition. Then change the following or next integer to the opposite sign. Finish by following your addition rules. Okay, so add the opposite. When more than one operation, so multiple, like as you can see, your independent practice, do multiplication and division first, then addition, subtraction. Make sure you're working left to right in the expression. So for your independent practice, you're just going to find the first value and find the second value and then compare them. So that's using your less than, greater than, or equal to symbols, okay? So it's 2 problems, but in a sense, you're doing 4 total, right? So 1 compared to 2, and then 3 compared to 4. Okay, these must be done to get full credit on your notes. Do not forget that piece must be done to get full credit on your notes. Okay, until next time.